Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially you, nephew, welcome back to another Riftbound video. And today we got another early deck build for set 2. There's a lot more spoiled cards on the sim than there is in the official announcement that we went over in the last video. So we're actually able to build a deck out of most of these. Not most of these, a lot of these legends. We have Fiora and Irelia, a full build, an actual playable build for both of these decks. And then in the next video, we have Lucian and Draven as a full playable build because they actually have champion units that you can put in for now. Before we go over the deck list, I do want to show you what all they have spoiled that wasn't shown before. There's a couple cards that still, I believe this is Chinese because it's released in China first. I'm not trying to be racist, but I might be wrong. Okay, so they do have them translated now. God, now I gotta remake these decks. Anyways, and a new battlefield. Spoilers are coming in every day now at this point because we just played these games a day ago, and now I'm recording this over it. Y'all be patient with me. If I can make some new decks, I'll make the new decks. But a lot of them are coming as Chinese cards first, and then being translated later. But at the time of recording, this wasn't in English. This wasn't in English. And then a couple more. Oh yeah, there's way more. Oh my, there's just more and more cards are being shown, and there's more leaders too. Okay, I'm gonna have to make more decks later. I'm getting distracted. Anyways, for now, or at the time of recording, this was shown off. These signature spells are new for Rek'Sai, Lucian, and then these, like I said, a lot of these were still in a different language, so I wasn't able to put them in the deck. Like this Draven was also in a different language the other day, so I wasn't able to put them in the deck. But wow, I'm gonna have to read through these. Oh, I'm gonna have to read through these later. Let me stay focused. But the decks that we were able to create was from the ones that were in English, and with one of the new legends that we haven't got to play with yet. This is Fiora Grand Duelist. Her leader ability is when one of your units becomes mighty, you may exhaust me to channel one rune exhausted. So this is similar to the Volibear deck, but instead of when you play a mighty unit, so them starting at 5 might, you channel one rune exhausted, it's when they become mighty, which I think is a extremely good effect, especially in a set, or in this current set with all the new gear that adds might to your units. I was about to say creatures, but we are running Doran's Blade and Trinity Force. I already saw even more spoiled gears in the actual sim that I wasn't able to put in this deck list, but that's sort of what this deck is about. It's about playing out units that become mighty, either through these attachments, through buffs, Arena's Bar, or per turn buffs like Pirate's Haven, and then Vanguard Helm helps you pass buffs around, or even at reaction speed. Cards like Fiora can be played to a battlefield and be at 4, and then your opponent can attack in, not expecting you to have a back-to-back or a Call to Glory to give it +2, which then will make it mighty, which means 1, you can ramp if you didn't ramp during your main phase, exhausting this card, gaining the rune, because this doesn't have to be on your main phase, it's just any time. And then she will also become mighty, so she will gain deflect, ganking, and shield. So then she'll also add another +1 to her might because she'll have shield at that point. So really cool effect with this leader that coincides with a lot of this deck. Like I said, this Fiora you've seen before in like a set deck or any buff deck, because that's normally the way you get her to be mighty, and then she'll just have these effects for the rest of the game as long as she's mighty. But it's very cool in this idea of becoming mighty, being able to trigger that on your turn or your opponent's turn. That makes it a bit what's the word, like you have the option to make her mighty with a buff, or like saving a back-to-back or Call to Glory, like I said, to sort of surprise your opponent, thinking that she wouldn't have this. There actually, do I want to go? What do I want to go over? So let's go over the spells because it's simple. We already went over 2. So this gives +2 to 2 friendly units for the turn, and then this gives +3 to a friendly unit. You can spend a buff to get it for free, but sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you do. And then our final spell of this deck is Primal Strength, give a unit +7. This isn't to trigger the ability. It can, so you can recycle a rune paying this cost and then get it right back with Fiora, but this is mostly just for, you know, your defensive turns to actually have an extremely strong unit that your opponent cannot get over. Or on your main phase to attack into your opponent's extremely strong units. And with these gears and the other ones that can go in this deck, these cards become even better. A 4 might unit becomes 6 with the gear, and then becomes 8 with the back-to-back. It becomes 9 with the Call to Glory, and then what's this? Becomes 11 with the Primal Strength. So a lot of value you can get out of these low-mighted cards. And what's cool about these low-mighted cards is a lot of them, actually, I'll say a lot of them don't need recycling, but all 3 of these need, or all 4 of these need recycling. The Fiora doesn't, First Mate doesn't, Pit Rookie doesn't, but those don't really, these 2 don't matter much. First Mate is cool because you can attach a gear to him, make him mighty, and that will trigger your effect, or even back-to-back, that will trigger your effect. Pit Rookie can only be triggered if it's, you know, you buff it and then attach a Doran's Blade. But all of these can become mighty, which is very important. But before we do it, let's go for the gears. Doran's Blade, you equipped it, you get +2 might to a unit. And then Trinity Force, you equipped it, you get +2 might to a unit, but it has the secondary effect of when I hold, I score a point. So if somebody with Trinity Force, holding Trinity Force holds, they will score 2 for that player. And then Pirate's Haven, when you ready a friendly unit, give it +1 this turn. Very important card, very good card, because this triggers infinitely. This does not say like exhaust me to give it +1. It triggers for every unit, and this counts for your main your upkeep. So as long as your unit was resting, at your upkeep step, you would ready a friendly unit, and therefore this will trigger. So cards like Fiora that say you have no buffs or any way to buff her, you play her out. Even from your champion zone, you can play her out for 4 on your second turn. If you have this out already, as soon as she stands up, she becomes mighty, which triggers your Grand Duelist, all for free. Not free, but this buff comes for free, and that triggers your Grand Duelist for free. Same thing here with the Arenas bar, same idea here. It's just the other way around. You buff an exhausted unit, so if you have this on the field as you play your Fiora, you can just tap this, and then it will instantly buff your Fiora, again triggering the Grand Duelist. And then Vanguard Helm, when a buff unit dies, buff another friendly unit. This is just so you can pass them around unit to unit to keep your buffs on the field, because the only other units that buff the only unit that buffs other units is the Pit Rookie, and the only unit that buffs in general, or the other unit that buffs in general, is Set, but he only buffs himself. So the only real like buff tokens we have are Arenas Bar and Pit Rookie. So Vanguard Helm is just to keep that buff alive and on the field, instead of having to have an Arenas Bar ready or having a Pit Rookie in hand. Might drop this when I look at the other leak stuff, but that's how I built it for now. The units, like I said, we have Pit Rookie. When you play me, buff another friendly unit. Kiana, very much a staple in orange, or body. It says when I conquer, draw 1 or channel 1 rune exhausted, so this also can help you ramp. But more than likely you will be drawing with this. That's one thing that this deck is lacking, is draw power. There's no spells that we have in here that help you draw, so it really is on the Kiana. Set is pretty much our boss monster of this deck. This is when I'm played and when I conquer, buff me, and then the secondary effect of spend my buff to give him +4 this turn. So you can, and this is also important because because his play trigger is buffing, he will come into play as a 4 cost and then become a 5 cost, thus instantly triggering your Grand Duelist legend effect. So you'll get this rune right back that you spent. The economy of this deck is extremely strong. You will be very rich playing this deck. I can promise you that. Leona, this might not be the best in this deck. Maybe I'll run it myself. The idea behind the Leona and this Shen is the shield effect. So she's a 4/4, but the shield effect gives her +1 as a defender. So this is once again one of those things of, if you hadn't used your ramp ability on your turn, if this Leona is on the board and they attack into you, she will become 5, thus becoming mighty. Then you can trigger this ramp effect. Getting also just recycling or getting this rune back that you recycled to play this Leona, if that's how it's played. Same thing with this Shin. He has shield 2, so, and reaction, which is important. So this you can 1, surprise your opponent with 5 extra might, and 2, it's the same idea behind the set. It is played as a 3 cost, and then if you played it at reaction speed as your defender, it will instantly become a 5 cost, thus you will get that rune back. And he has tank, so really strong surprise card to 1, develop another body, ramp, and defend a battlefield you control. Fiora, we're just running 2 more of these. Maybe drop this down to 1 if I'm rebuilding this deck, but she's just a good card and really good in this deck. And then first mate, when you play me, ready another unit. So pretty much another staple in orange or body decks. For the battlefields, we have fortified position. Like I said, this triggers on defense, so you can give +2 to a unit. So since all of these units start below 5, except for Pit Rookie, if you target it with this, they will become mighty, thus triggering your leader ability. Monastery of Hirana, I think that's how you say that. When you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw 1. This sort of doesn't work how I thought it would. This probably I would switch out for what is the thing? Trifarian War Camp. That all units here have +1 might, because you can then attack in with this without it being buffed, attacking with this without it being buffed, and that will trigger your Leona ability or legend ability, Fiora ability. There's too many names. Fiora legend ability on any of these that are at 4, but as soon as you go there, they'll go up to 5, thus becoming mighty. So maybe that's why I would switch this out at. It depends. If you build this more towards the buff wave, then this is really good. Instead of using like Pirate's Haven, going up an Arena's bar, running more, or Vanguard Helm is also good, but running more cards that use buff tokens, then yes, this is really good. But I think the way that this deck is built currently is too split for this to consistently be good for you, where I think Trifarian War Camp may be. And then Dreaming Tree, the first time you choose a friendly unit with the spell here, draw 1. So this just also helps with your back-to-back and Call to Glory and Primal Strength to draw off of these effects, because like I said, this has a draw issue. This deck has a draw issue for sure. I think that was the idea behind adding this in as well, but there's just not enough buffs in this deck. But yeah, that is pretty much the Fiora deck as I built it currently. It definitely will be changed more than likely as soon as I look at the new cards that were revealed. And then the other deck we're playing today, I know this is another long one. This one will go faster because we already went over her. Irelia, when you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay a recycle rune to ready it. We've already went over this deck. It just wasn't completely built yet. We were just doing it when we had quite much less cards than we had before. But now we have champion units we can run. We are running the green Irelia. It says when you choose or ready me, give me +1 this turn, which we went over in the video before. But this triggers just every time you choose her or ready her, even if it's in the same effect technically. So cards like, we'll go over Defiant Dance because it's also new. Defiant Dance is reaction. It's a reaction card. Give a unit +2 this turn. Give another unit -2 this turn. So you can choose. You can play this. Choose her. That'll give her +2 for this effect, and then her own effect will give her +1, so that's +3. And then you can use this effect to recycle a rune, and then ready her, which will give her another +1, because it'll trigger her effect again. But yeah, everything else. Actually, in the last time we played this, we played the more move focused one. This is more control focused. So I'll just go over the cards that's necessary. We've already went over Overzealous Fan. Treasure Hunter. When I move, play a Gold Gear token exhausted. This is pretty good to get some free recycle runes. So yeah, just really good card here, especially in this deck where you're using a lot for her legend ability. Sona, really good. I definitely doubted this card, but it says, while I'm at a battlefield, ready 4 runes at the end of your turn. Yeah, this just makes it so you can use almost all of your spells, literally all of your spells, if she's at a battlefield, to help defend her. Tarek, shield 1, he has tank, and then other friendly units here have shield. Really good, because the idea behind this deck is this Caitlyn, or I guess the mid game of this deck is this Caitlyn. I must be assigned combat damage last, but you can tap her to deal damage equal to my might to a unit at a battlefield, and this use this ability only while I'm at a battlefield. So she desperately needs to be protected. So we are running Tarek that buffs her, Sunlit Guardian that also has shield and tank. And then my phone always blows up once I start recording. And then of course our gears, which do 2 things. Guardian Angel does 2 things for sure. Protects her if she does die, but it also gives her +1, so she's now dealing 4 damage to a unit at another battlefield. And then Sterek's Gauge gives her +3, which means she's dealing 6 damage to a unit at a battlefield, with her effect without having to move. And then Doran's Shield, you don't really want to put this on her because it gives her tank, so then she must be assigned combat damage first, which sort of cancels out her first ability. But it does give her +1 might, so she'll do 4 damage to to a card on the other side of the field. So if you build one battlefield super tall and have a Caitlyn there that's consistently tapping and dealing damage to the other battlefield, it's really good. And it's even more, or it's even higher in a deck like this, where it can be triggered for her first. Let's say there's nothing attached to her, she's just start of your turn, she stood up, and your opponent has a 9 might character on the other battlefield. And for sake of example, let's just say you, in order to go for game, you have to get this guy in there at 2 might. So you obviously just can't push this into 2 might, but you can tap this, deal 3 to it, and then use a card like Feral Strength to give her +2, and then maybe even do it twice, giving her another +2, so she'll go up to 7. And then because you chose her, you can then use the legend effect to ready her again, and then tap her again, and then do 7 to that unit that you already dealt 3 to. So then that'll kill it, and then you can move this Overzealous Fan in there. Boom, you won the game. So really good card in this deck, with being able to trigger her ability twice. There is a card in here, or there is a card available to us, the Swellsonger, because that's also a green card that you can attach to the Caitlyn. It would double her effect, because it copies the text that it's attached to. So when this is tapped, that'll be tapped with it, so it'll essentially do it twice, whatever she's attached to. Or more than likely you want it to attach that to like Tarek, not the Sonya as much. You don't need that many runes, but the Taric is very important to have that if you were running it. The Caitlyn does have some use out of it, but it is only +0, so I didn't run it in this deck currently. Maybe that'll change later. But for the most part, that is pretty much it. Everything else is honestly the same as last time, so I won't go over every card to make this video a little bit shorter. And then we can jump right into the gameplay. So I am piloting the Irelia, and my brother-in-law is piloting the Fiora. This is only our second time playing with these decks, so please be patient with us for our misplays and or is muted. Yes, but doesn't. I'm hearing something in my headphones. Or mistakes. But I do have a curve. I'm gonna play the I'm forgetting the name. Treasure Hunter first, so I can start generating that gold, and hopefully I can generate multiple before she dies. So I'll move and then instantly get a gold treasure token. And then the Fiora plays the Arenas bar, so that in their next turn they'll have their buffs active and ready to ramp. You can literally just play the Fiora from the champion zone, and they're ready to ramp. I already played my Sonya. Because I have so many spells in hand, I'm not afraid of like a confront into something. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to say. I meant to put confront in this Fiora deck. I don't know why I didn't. Confront is simply just a good card. 2 energy, your units come out ready, and you draw 1. It's just a good card. That was just a misplay on my end, I guess. But yeah, they play out a Kiana and then use Arenas bar on it to buff it, making it mighty. Then ramping, or not ramping, but getting their rune back essentially. I forgot to get my points here. I do fix that in a second. But because they're at Windswept Hillcock, they do have ganking. And so it was 1 point for conquering, 1 point for holding, and then another point for conquering now. And then because I moved again, I'll make another gold token. Now this was a mistake. I should have moved the Sonya with her, and then played the Overzealous Fan, because they only have 1 unit here. I should have just put it all on fortified position. Then I could have buffed that Sonya to match the 6, and then I had spells in hand to make it higher, so that she couldn't die. I don't know why I didn't do that. That would have been much simpler, and just giving them the conquer with the Kiana, because now I'm in the position where Kiana can decide where she wants to kill. Well, technically she for sure cannot kill the Sonya because I have the Overzealous Fan next to her, so I'll just kill the Overzealous Fan to push the Kiana back. But they play out the set, which will come into play. I think we're talking about the ruling here for a second. Just explaining that he comes into play at 4 and then becomes a 5, so he will ramp here. I think this is the first time we got to play this card. So he gains the rune Rested. Did he recycle? I think he forgot to. No, yeah, I think he did. Yeah, because he's back at 8. And then he plays the first mate. Oh right, this is the sequencing that we allowed to go afterwards. So the play was set into first mate to ready it and attack. But because set 1 is played, he gets a buff. His effect is spend the buff, go +4. Because this is the play, you play him, spin that buff while he's rested. Then because only 1 buff can be attached to a unit at a time, because you spent the buff, his unit himself will get the +4, but now he doesn't have a buff, so you can rebuff him with the Arenas bar, giving him another +1. And because Arenas bar can only buff exhausted units, then you play the first mate to ready him and then let him attack into a place. So we go talk about that, and then we should do that soon. Yeah, he just goes back, and then yeah, there it is, +5. So he wants to kill the Sona, which does make sense. And I'm debating here, what do I want alive more, the Sona or the I mean the Set or the Kiana. I decide. I don't. Yeah, I decide to kill. I decide to use Overzealous Fan effect. I do. Oh wait, no. I know why I did that. So, yeah, he was +5. What am I smoking? I'm not getting over +5. So he was 9 might into 4. So I could have targeted it twice with, um, uh, 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 I forgot what this card is called. It's not Beast Within. That's a magic card. I could have targeted twice with that and made it an 8, and then used a Defiant Dance to give it another +2, and then killing him. But I didn't want to use that many cards from hand, so I decided to let him live, and then just use one card or one Defiant Dance here to kill the Kiana, stopping his draw, and keeping my Sonya alive. But oh right, so the Kiana moves in, and she's only a 5 might, so I target my Sonya for +2, which makes her a 6. And then they're tapped out, so they have no reactions anyways. So but the other thing is the Kiana has deflect, so if I targeted her, I would have to recycle another rune. Did I forget to recycle? I hope I didn't cheat you, dog. Please recycle that rune, Donovan. But I do target myself, and oh no, I use the gold. I use a gold. One of my golds that was standing up. I see now. So yeah, I do +2 to Sonya, and then -2 to the first mate, just so I don't have to play the deflect cost. But yeah, now I move the Sonya over. I forget my points again. And then I move the treasure hunter again, which means I make another gold token. One of them is tapped, one of them is untapped. So I used the one that's untapped to attach the guardian angel to the Sonya, and then I add the points. So I held twice. And then I just end there because I have no units. I could have played out the Irelia, but I do think it is better as like a surprise, or not a surprise unit, but because it's always on the board, so it's not a surprise. But as a game ender, with how strong she can become on the turn she's played, coming out, being able to be targeted, being able to get readied from our legend ability, does a lot. Does a lot for us. So I think he decides to run the set into us. He should spin. Okay, he decides to play out these gears for now. And right now, my hand is extremely scary, or my board is extremely scary. I have 7 runes up, 3 cards in hand, and he's already seen the Defiant Dance, but I also have, this other. I'm going to keep calling it Beast Within until I see the name of this card. This other buffing card in hand, that makes it just extremely scary to attack into my units, especially when I'm at 45 position, and almost not even worth it when I have a guardian angel attached to the Sona, because she'll just come to my base, and then I can move her to places later. But I think he's deliberating, or maybe I think we're talking about spinning the buff again. Fast forward just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, he moves it before spinning the buff, but I think that's what he did. So he spent the buff. He just didn't mark it. So he's at 4. He's +4, so he's 8 +2, so that's 10. So I play a Defiant Dance to give myself +2 and him -2, so he's back down to 8, and I'm at is that 6 + 1, so 7. So 7 to 8 currently, and then I have the Feral Strength at the ready. I'm just waiting for him to use his reaction. So he does Call to Glory to give another +3, and I think I'm cooked here. Oh, I'm not cooked here. I still have Fortified Position. I forgot about Fortified Position. Um, so it actually so he gets another +3. So it counteracts my +2, but then I have Defy in hand, so I will counter that spell. So he does not get the +3. So now I do win because of Fortified Position. Oh, I guess I still played this. I don't know what I played this for. This was just a waste. I just forgot about Fortified Position, I guess. Okay, okay, Donovan, you win, you win, you got it. Yeah, I'm just being a bully and wasting cards. Um, I guess I just wasn't doing math today. That turn, I just decided not to do math and just spend everything because I had it. The rich get richer, so um, yeah. But my Sona stays. He does have the first mate, but I actually tell him that he has to be exhausted to buff him, so he has to move him first. But those buffs stay on for turns, so the first mate can't really attack into me still. Um, and so he just moves to Windswept to get his Conquer point, and then he can buff him from there. Um, so luckily I draw into a unit, I gain a hold effect, and luckily I draw into a good unit at that. Um, so I want to move to generate a token. And then tap 2 to play Treasure Hunter, and then stand 2 up at end of turn and pass. Still leaving the Irelia in the champion zone because I don't really need to play her currently. And then there is the Fiora coming from their champion zone, attaching the gear to her to make her mighty, ramping again. And like I said, they're at 11 runes and I'm at 7. So this the economy on this deck is extremely strong. And I think they gain their whole point and pass here. I don't think they try, or they can't try anything, or they can because he does have ganking, but it wouldn't be smart because I have more might. And if you wanted to trade out for the Sona will just come back to my base, thus I'll just move it back in the next turn. Actually, he couldn't because I'll just fortify position and push it up to, or use Overzealous Fan and push him back to base. But that wouldn't be smart. I would rather kill him. So I'll just use fortify position to push up the Sona 2 extra points, so he wouldn't be able to kill it. So yeah, he gains his whole point, and I believe he passes. Oh yeah, so this is where I make my mistakes. I think it's GG's here. I'm just dumb. I'm just dumb. I get too excited to do the cool new thing. I remember us talking. I was like, it's not GG's yet unless I draw into the nuts. And then I drew a choose card. So I was like, well, I drew into the nuts. GG's. Um, uh, 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 it should happen soon. What are we doing? Okay, so yeah, I draw into a discipline here. So now I get to pay the 5 to play my Irelia, and then pay 2 for discipline to target the Irelia to give it +2. Because I target her, I give her a +1 for her effect, and then I will use Irelia effect to ready her, and then because I readied her, I'll give her another +1, so I'm swinging 8 into 6. But I just don't look at my opponent's runes, and oh, right, he had to step away for a minute, so I just thought that was GG's, so I stopped recording, but it was not GG's. He had the primal strength in hand, exactly 4 runes, so he gives it +7 for the turn, completely stopping me going for game. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'll just get my whole point, stand up 4 runes again, and pass the turn. I really thought the game was over there, but you know, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Okay, so yeah, I was right. So he should only have +1 currently, because he was not ready this turn. He was already ready when I attacked into it. The Fiora does get +1 from Pirate's Haven and Arena's Bar, but this one should only have the +1 from Arena's Bar because that's a static buff. Um, this only triggers if you readied it that turn. But because he was already ready, he should not get it. And I think we go back and forth about that for a second. But you know, he's taking care of a kid. He's distracted. You can't blame him for that. It's fine either way. Mostly, but I do think, like I completely through the game, like it's over. Because now, because he has ganking, he can move in both of these units. So this is, because we didn't check that, so it's 5, 7, and 6, 8. So that's 15 against 5, 6, 8, 10. So yeah, he's got that, and I got nothing in hand to help with that. So I'm really regretting that decision to try to use the discipline to close out the game like that. I'm debating on using the overzealous fan effect here, but instead I just use all the might of my units to get rid of one of these cards. Instead of going down 2 might, that would have sent me down to 8, so I wouldn't be able to get rid of the Fiora that way. So I just leave him alive to leave him at 10. Killing the Fiora in the trade, he does get the conquer with the first mate. And then he plays another Fiora, and then he attaches the Infinity Stone. What is it called? Trinity Force, not Infinity Stone. Infinity Edge. That's what I'm thinking of, Infinity Edge. And then he touches the Fiora, getting his room back. Rich as you can be, 12 might. He's got the max win at this point, and then I draw to the nuts. This time for sure, no cards in hand. This is actually the nuts this time. So I do conquer because it is game point. I only draw, I don't win. But then I do pay 4 and recycle 1 for Tarek. I don't know why I played him here. I did not need to do that. Wait, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I have game. Oh God. Okay, another misplay. He has no cards in hand. All I need to do is conquer both battlefields, and I win. But for some reason, it still would have worked, even me playing this Taric here, because he would have had ganking. But I just need to play the Taric, discipline him, Sterix gauge him, and then move him from here to here, using Irelia effect to make him ready. So he would have been 4 + 2, 6 + 3, 9 into 5, 6. So yeah, I would have won. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you got to give me a little bit of grace, I guess I scared myself of trying to win like that. So I was like, I'm just gonna play crazy defense instead. So the Target just went down as tank with 2 up. I hope y'all don't hear my roommate doom scrolling right now. That would be embarrassing. But yeah. Either way, this will win the game because now he's not, the first mate's not at a battlefield that he has ganking in. The Fiora is only a, what's this, 6, 8 might, and I am 10 because both of these have shield. So they would need to find another way to buff her. The other way we played this, which I think is important to notice because I don't know if this is in the official rules or not, only one equipment attached to one unit. The only reason we played it that way is because that's how buffs work in this game. So I'm assuming that is going to be something similar. I know I say that like every single time we talk about equipments in these videos, but I say that for new people. But it can be different. We definitely could be wrong about that. Especially because of how League works. It's not like uh, cards. Um, oh, I see. Cards do not cards. Items you buy in the game League of Legends, you can buy I think up to 6. So it might be different. It might, if they are targeting like that. So they attack in, and then they use the reaction tag on Shin to get him to another +3 in there. I have the whatchamacallit, discipline to give one of my units +2 and draw a card. So I use that, and then right now I'm just letting them know there was no way. It was always GG's. The game was rigged from the start. But yeah, so that is the gameplay we had for you today. Like I said, definitely not the final builds for these decks. I still gotta go now. I gotta go through even more new cards. I'm upset, but I'm also excited. Because I really wanted to build a Rek'Sai deck, and now we have an English version of Rek'Sai. So, yeah, that should be fun, and more than likely covered next week. Because in Friday's video, we will be going over Darius and Lucian. But those will be with the reveal cards from or by that time it would have been like a week. So it'll be a lot of time in between. Like we could have ran this for sure, but this wasn't translated yet. This is the one I was looking for. It looks like this was made specifically for Lucian because these are his guns. But we won't have these cards in those decks. But I hope you enjoy it anyway, just to get an idea of how the decks are supposed to play, and getting a little bit of a head start on set 2. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Like I covered in the last video, Discord link will be in the description for anyone trying to play games, trying to set up games, especially if you're trying to learn these new cards and play with these new cards, just to have a place to, directly talk with your opponent and be like, hey, I'm trying out the new set. I don't know, or put in the Discord, hey, anybody want to try the new set with me, with the cards that have been revealed, so you're not running into randoms like playing just new cards and they're like, whoa man, I didn't sign up for that. So if you want to join the Discord to keep up with Riftbound, play some games on the sim or on camera, I have a Discord for that now. So with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one. Remember to support your local card shops, and good